All right, let's take a look at part 2 or day 2 of our substitution lesson. So there's a couple unique things here. We have a regular problem that I'll go through, and then we have a couple word problems that I want to talk about. But just to look at this first problem, this will be the first time that we have to do something like this. And what I've been talking about for the last day or so has been the first step is looking to see if something is solved for y. In other words, does y equal something? And in this case, it's not. However, it works the same way if you have something solved for x. So you can do this the same way. We can substitute in. So I have x is equal to 5y plus 3. So I'm going to circle what I have solved for x. Now the difference is, instead of plugging that into y, this is what x equals. So I'm going to take that information and plug it into the x value. So now example 1, I would have 2 times x, which is what I circled, plus 4y equals -1. And then I'm just going to solve that like a normal equation. So I would distribute here. So 2 times 5, 2 times 3, that gives me 10y plus 6. There's the plus 4y equals -1. Do I have like terms? Yes, I do. 10y plus 4y is 14y plus 6 equals -1. I'm running out of room here. I'm just going to move this up here to the top. Subtract 6 on both sides, and I end up with 14y equals -7. When there's one term on each side, time to divide. If I divide by 14, this one ends up being y is equal to -7 divided by 14 is -1/2. And there's my y value. So when I go to write a final answer, I guess I can put this over here. My y value is -1/2. And then I need to look at any of my original equations. So in looking at that, I think that this is probably going to be my best equation to use, the one I highlighted in yellow. So I'm going to take 5 times y, so x is equal to 5 times y, which was -1/2, plus 3. So now I have to do a little bit of math here. 5 times -1/2 is -2.5, and -2.5 plus 3 ends up being +1/2. So my final answer would be right here. All right, let's take a look at this word problem. So you're going to have to take word problems and then write equations, write systems for them. Just remember that when we do these systems, we have 2 equations. So you're looking at some information that would produce 2 equations here. And it looks like you have turkey burgers x and veggie burgers y. And it says you pay $2 per turkey burger and $1.50 per veggie burger. And you spend $90 altogether. Couple bits of information that are important is a lot of times it will tell you how much you buy. So buying a total of 50 is going to say that however many turkey burgers I buy plus however many veggie burgers is going to total 50. It also is talking about how much I spend. So $2 times the amount of turkey burgers, remember turkey burgers were x, plus $1.50 times the number of veggie burgers, and altogether you spent $90. So there's my 2 equations that I wrote. To solve these equations, we have been working on substitution. And so I would like one of these equations solved for either x or y, and right now neither of them are. So I think the easiest way to do this would be to take the top equation, and I think subtracting x on both sides might be the best move, because that gives me y is equal to 50 minus x, or -x plus 50, however you want to look at it. Once I get here, now that I have it solved for y, I can circle what y is equal to, and I can take that and I can substitute it into the other equation's y. So I'll do that right here. So I end up with 2x plus $1.50 times 50 minus x, and that equals 90. So it looks like a little bit of a tougher equation to solve, but I can do some math here, and I will go with 2x and then 150 times 50 ends up being, let me grab my calculator quick, 1.5 times 50 ends up being 75, and then minus 150 times x is minus 1.5x, and that still equals 90. So I'm looking for like terms. I have 2x and I have minus 1.5x, and that would give me 0.5x plus the 75 equals 90. I need to minus 75 on both sides, and I'll continue it over here. But I end up with 0.5x equals 90 minus 75 is 15. When there's one term on each side, time to divide. If I divide by 0.5, I end up with x being equal to 30. So what that tells me is whatever my x value was, which in this case, if we look back at the word problem, the x value was my turkey burgers and the y value is my veggie burgers. So it's telling me that if I buy 30 turkey burgers, then I would have to buy, it would end up being 20 veggie burgers. And the reason I knew that is because of this equation right here. When I plugged 30 in for x, y equals 50 minus 30, which ended up being 20. So y equals 20 in that situation. Final answer, 30 turkey burgers and 20 veggie burgers. Okay, let's look at another word problem, which is done similarly here. It says you sell lemonade for $2 per cup and orange juice for $3 per cup. So I have $2 times the amount of lemonade cups plus $3 times the amount of orange juice, and altogether that adds up to $240 of profit. It also says I sell 100 total cups. So I would say x plus y is equal to 100. And just like the last problem, I need to set this up where I have it solved for y. So I'm going to minus x on both sides, and that gives me y equals 100 minus x. Now that I have one equation solved for y, I can circle that, and I'm going to substitute that into my original equations, y. So I'm taking that top equation, which is 2x plus 3 times y, which is 100 minus x, and that equals 240. So I'm left with then 2x. If I distribute, 3 times 100 is 300. 3 times x is negative 3x, and that equals 240. If I combine like terms, 2x minus 3x, and then continue solving it, I'm going to subtract 300 from both sides, and I end up with negative 1x equals negative 60. When there's one term on each side, time to divide. If I divide both sides by negative 1, I end up with x being equal to 60. So my final answer would be x is 60. I still need to find my y. So I'm going to go back to one of these original equations. I could choose any of these three equations. I'm just going to do the equation that's already set equal to y. So y equals 100 minus x. X was 60. 100 minus 60 is 40. So what that tells me is that when I made $240 and sold 100 cups, that I must have sold 60 lemonade cups and 40 orange juice cups.